everyone. Woohoo! Welcome to Cyber Academy Meetup. We are super glad to run our first event here in Europe, in Prague. So we usually do it in Minsk, in Kiev, and in Moscow. And I see a lot of people from our meetups here. So who is from Moscow here? Only one person? Two? You are not? Okay. You are not a person or what? Okay, so who is from Minsk? Yay! Hello. So glad to see you. And who is from Kiev? Okay, so I see a lot of different people, and who just a moment, who doesn't speak Russian here? One, two, three, four. So yeah, that's so. Okay. All right, so I would like to introduce you, Dima Starodubcev. Please come, and you give applause, please.
Раз. Всем привет.
I think he
Hello,
will
guys.
He will talk about Cyber Academy much better than me. I hope so. So I give you a one.
Oh, okay, guys. It's quite great that it's actually the first time when we gathered together from different cities of our Russian community. It's a bit complicated for us to start communicating with the world, and not in Russian, but in English. But sometimes we should start to do that. So please be patient about our, all the stuff. Two things I want to talk you about tomorrow. Not the first one is just some, ideas about Cyber Academy itself. And I will launch my presentation just for a moment. Sorry for delay. Sorry, I don't have, really awesome pictures. Just simple stuff. Okay, but okay, but first I want to talk you about kind of report. We started Cyber Academy as an independent project almost 5 months ago, and since then about 45 speakers on 50 talks. We published about 50 videos and 45 videos in VR. Our channel has now about 500 subscribers and about 10,000 views on YouTube. And as I think it's actually the biggest blockchain technology community in Russian-speaking part of the internet. So thank you everybody. It's a really nice, good first step. Yeah. Two messages concerning this. The first one is that we've got really a lot of cool topics around consensus computing, around blockchains, but we touch very few, I do believe, more important things like content addressing and the new movement of Web3. So it's kind of a call for all speakers, to think wider. We can achieve more, and I hope next month we will see a bit more broad talks, not only in terms of database development or smart contracts development, but also building a new kind of web. The second question is really our agenda. The deal is what I invested. The reason why Cyber Academy exists, that I spend a bit of money for buying like equipment, for spending on salary for guys, etc. And it's not so much, but not so few. It's more than $100,000 of my personal investment. And I basically do it because I do believe that Cyber Academy can be truly a community project. Yeah, it's a kind of my investment into community. And now we have a challenge because we need to find a more sustainable way to fund further operations. We need simple the app for Cyber Academy events, and I do believe that it's kind of enough to it's kind of enough to to continue operation of Cyber Academy, to produce free and open and accessible blockchain educational content, content around blockchain development from Russian community. It's more about Russian-speaking guys who are really hard to speak and different from Russian languages. I'm talking just about our local community, and it has huge potential. I believe so. But we need more, like gas. And one announcement here is that at 15th December we are going to do a CyberCon. It's like CyberCon 0, and it will be like their blockchain fairy tales from last year, but with different kind of organizers, yeah, but in the same sense. So the problem is that it either happens or not. So if we will be able to develop the app before this CyberCon, it will happen because we will be able to do it as we need to do. If we will not, okay, we will just miss it. So it's really strange that we don't use the smart contracts for the things we do every day. I mean, it's a bad sheet, it's kind of life for ourselves, yeah. And one of such example is the tickets to different meetups and blockchain conference. I can give you one example. Yesterday I just wasn't able to get to DEF CON because I lost this paper badge, yeah. And that's kind of strange because, these guys ask the passports for a crypto. I think it's a bad sheet. Raise a hand who do believe the same way, yeah. Okay, thank you guys. And we need to change that, and so I can actually hire, like a team myself. I can, Valero can write these contracts. Myself even will start to invest too. That's really important thing, It's a time in the blockchain industry when everything goes down, and if we will keep together, yeah, we will be able to get through all this hardness until the next hype, yeah. And my estimations is that it can be around 2021, 21st, yes. So it's not so close. So we need to keep on closer to, and so I'm asking actually you developers to help Nadia and guys to build this quite simple application. We have a bit of like a proof of concept already code, but we need a front end. And I do believe that everybody can join to do this quite simple app in 1 month. It's possible. It's not so hard. So you can ask what happens with Cyber Academia if we fail to deliver sustainability until CyberCon? Do you have any idea? These guys are really professional guys who are quite a mobile group who can deliver like translations and all the stuff using VR, etc. Guys has really good equipment, so you know they will be able to. Sorry. We will be able to monetize, you know, all this equipment for you, you know, guys, like porn, yeah. It's much more easier. I mean, I'm quite serious, yeah. So we've got a team and we have equipment, and what should we do? I mean, the most easy way is just to go and do the porn, but I think there is a chance for blockchain development and educational videos. So guys, please help. That's it. Let's okay. That's it. That's it concerning. I think it's. I think that's it concerning Cyber Academia, and I will start to speak on the main topic. Okay, that was fun. I talk about VR, but I have got a bit more for you. Last week I bought these, you know, like device in one of their supermarkets in Europe, and I expected that I will enjoy it, yeah. It is like Oculus Go VR. It is very attractive and really good device, yeah. Please raise your hand who did try that. Okay, great. I have. You know, the problem that when I try to use it, you know, it asks a Facebook account. And I did delete my Facebook account a couple of months ago. So, you know, I just start to think what I could do this kind of thing, yeah. All my friends told me, okay, just take one more Facebook account, yeah, and use this shit. Yeah, but the problem with this approach is that actually you don't solve the main problem if you just use like a fake Facebook account, because every data from your hand, from your intelligence, anyway, will be get onto Facebook servers. And that's basically a really bad thing in a long term, because you know, that devices lock your thoughts, lock your intelligence, lock lock yourself. And I don't know actually what to do with that, and the only thing I decided to do is just to destroy it, like on camera, because it's like to, you know, hide to Zuckerberg, yeah. And the problem is that it is quite tough, yeah. I mean, seriously, guys, it's really tough to destroy such a shit. It's really hard. So I will try, but you know, yeah, 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 yeah. And that is how I will start to talk about Web3, yeah, because that's the deal. That's the deal. The problem is that our identity right now has been stolen by closed corporations, and we should start to think how to fix that. I mean, all that buzz around blockchains. All that buzz around blockchains is just, you know, like meaningless, because the biggest problem right now, right before our eyes, and this is this URL box in front in every browser you use every day, every hour, every minute. And how it works basically, it just ask some 11 servers to point to IP address. I mean, it's just a simple database. Why should we use that? So that is why it was tough. I lose. Just a moment. It upset me. So, you know, Web3 starts from there, I do believe, one interesting paper by Gavin Wood, who talked about in the early 2014 about 4 meaningful things. The first one is content addressing. The second one is like cryptographic identities. The third one is a consensus computing, and the fourth one is browsing. Yeah, I mean, we actually right now are concerned about the second and the third, like cryptographic identities and consensus computing, but don't think about like last mile of our interactions with the web. And today I want to propose like a very basic and very simple thing. I mean, the most simple things I do believe is why it can be impactful, because it's easy to understand, easy comprehend, and easy to adapt. And I want to introduce you like a DURA. It's like a distributed unified resource address. It's just a simple convention that browser vendors, application developers, and all guys who are around can use to address the stuff without relying on this like a stupid registry using which all governments around the world can control our shit. I mean, and the sooner we start to use very different way, yeah, I mean, the more chance we will have to, you know, like change something. So how that could works? It's, you know, basically designing the new thing. I kept in mind like 5 really important properties. Yeah, the first one is that the new stuff should be fast. I mean, the internet and interaction in the internet is really important to be fast. All usability researchers say that if, you know, interactions do not respond in more than 100 milliseconds, I mean, it's not fast, and it is almost impossible to do such, you know, like fast interactions using traditional DNS lookups. So that's it. You should find another way. The second really important property is like globality, and you know, we all know about like China, but I do believe that in maybe 1 year or so we will have another huge segment that will be split from the global internet. It will be Russia, because I use the internet in Russia, and the things get worse every day. So the third point is security, and you know, it's quite hard to deliver apps which the code of which you're not able to authenticate, because you know it's mutable. URLs just don't get browser another any way to, you know, control permissions in terms of the executed code. So fourth property is like it must be permanent, because traditional hyperlinks are broken through time. And another important thing is like offline interaction, because right now, you know, if you try to use your apps, offline, it's most likely that you will be able to use it in remote areas, you know, if their internet connections is off. So that's, and the fifth, the most important property is like it must be mesh ready. And what is mesh? Mesh is, you know, like more than one internet provider, because now we have always only one internet provider at a time. You cannot, you know, just take the internet from Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and something else. You're just using only one at once, because their architecture of addressing and all the stuff. It's really complicated, but you know, the new scheme should match this requirement because we need to find a way to build a mesh right now. So these are things I really keep in mind, and the next thing I want to speak a bit about, you know, how current URL scheme works. I mean, it's literally scheme. It's literally scheme because one organization, one guy control all this registry of first level domains, about 1,000 records. And they're quite strange if you look into it, but it consists of, you know, like the first part is a protocol, the second one is domain, subdomain, then domain, and that like first level TLD, it's like nobody know what it is. I mean, raise your hand who understand, I mean, what it tried to express. It's really unclear stuff. I found this picture in the internet, it's not my shit. So it is designed around strange and abstract domains. I don't believe it must be designed in more focused on the content and the apps, because that is actually we are talking about every day, like the piece of content and an application that interacts with this piece of content. And actually, if you put it simple, that the old one URL scheme is like try to answer first, like where you can get the resource and when you get the answer, like what you have and how you can interact with that. And that's basically the problem, because I want to describe a bit how the new thing work. It builds on top of IPFS content addressing protocol, and it basically trying to, you know, easily define what and how. So you just get a hash and you have a very simple way to understand how you can process this piece of content. That is basically a scheme. It's quite 4 segments: the protocol, content address, when root registry app, and the app navigation. Nothing different from actually what exists right now, but it works very different underneath. I will just, yeah. Okay, that is how the most basic URL or DURA address can looks like. It's just a content hash in a IPFS CID format, content identification format, that just put after their protocol to, you know, like all your browsers or potential application can interact with. The root registry is just a moment. The root registry is very simple concept. It try to, you know, just map a name with their hash of application that process the content address from a query of a user. So basically it lives in our user browser. It does not define, you know, like globally. It is a user, you know, like user task to, you know what kind of things he want to apply to which apps. I mean, just simple knowledge how to open with different apps different type of contents. And it's basically it's quite strange that after 40 years of computer, this like huge movement, we still don't have like basic agreement on what content with what apps to use. So root registry is very distributed thing, so it doesn't tie to, you know, like any particular registry, and the full address can look like this. I mean, it's just very similar to what you use for. I want, you know, like define 3 simple rules of this root registry stuff. It's like that appenders must compete for better root registry, you know, to make it by default by a user. That appender must at setting with a change of a root registry, do not log in, yeah, and that agents actually can change all the settings, change all the settings to, have better experience using their browser. And I mean, it sounds like a weird thing, but we actually implemented with guys from CyberSearch a kind of really simple proof of concept browser. I want just to show you what it can, and maybe it will be more clear to you what I mean, okay? Cybit's the browser, yeah. It is like a small robot. It's not an animal. It's a robot. It's not from a meat, it's just pure digital thing. And it can help, like discover all that Web3 stuff. But, some concept around Web3 you need to understand before you use it. So basically what we see is like local connections. And we have direct connection to our IPFS node. Yeah, I will just check that it works. No, it's not. I just rebooted. So yeah, I will try to use. Yeah, it works. Great. So yeah, basically, before you start to use a Web3 thing, you need to understand that you need to connection to providers of your data. Basic provider for content in our browser is IPFS node. So you just need to start your local node. In the future, the browser will do all that hard work for users, but right now it's just very independent and disconnected thing. You just point like local port and that's it. You need to have a connection to parity node, and if you want to have like search capabilities, you need connection with CyberD node. It is another development of our team. I will show you how it works. So that's it. After you see that, like have green dots or yellow here, you can start to use the stuff. The other things you need is to import like your identity. Yeah, it's like Ethereum keys, BIP339 keys. It quite raw functionality right here, but anyway, I just want to point out that you will be able to interact with all Web3 apps like MetaMask. Like with MetaMask, because the identity is already there. So the third thing is that you need to understand like how root registry works. It's just simple registry with the name of the app and its hash. So I will start to demonstrate you how that's a wiki application. Yeah, it works the better when more people use it. So sometimes you cannot get like some small pieces of files and something can stuck, but anyway eventually it loads, but we've not that internet like okay. So it looks like naturally like all browsing experience we used to, but the important thing is that if you look on this string and look into registry, you just see that there's only one hash behind this application. All path works, and actually that's quite interesting. Another application just to demonstrate how it can work, it's like our search. Yeah, you see that there is a cyber here. You see that there is a hash of application in the root registry, and mm, based on these, the browser can understand how to interact with that, and you can just, like traditional one, you just put some query and you can, get to some kind of pages that search will show you. So that is kind of traditional IPFS node application. I just take this hash, just append the IPFS into it, and it just looks like working stuff. You can see that peers are joining, and all thing happens. I mean, it's like another case with search. The video works great, it's like actually it works, it could works for popular videos, it could work even better Web3 browser, yeah? It's just like simple. You see that, for example, we want our member app, yeah, or like app. It's already there, sorry. Okay, it's like member app, yeah? So I just go to root registry, like I added, like here, yeah, and I just go here. It looks simple, but it works, and I can add it to my bookworks, like this, and it automatically will be pinned on your IPFS node, and that means that it will work even offline, starting from this. I mean, it is a full installation of an app. The things that I like right now in current implementation is that it works bad with like traditional Web3 apps. We are choosing right now identity provider and the best scheme for identity providers, and I think it should, like, have permissions for controlling resource usage like CPU and storage and all this stuff from a client side. But basically it's already work for like static content. It's really nice thing to start experiment and play with. So that's it. I would love, and all our team would love to answer all the questions concerning our development. Thank you.
If anybody have questions, so you are welcome to ask. Yeah.
Yes, I'm ready to ask if anybody has questions.
Okay.
Hi, thank you for your deck. It was really impression for me. So I have 3 questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, can you please show us how exactly our addresses would be viewed for the users itself?
I don't understand the question.
So the main task of the domains itself, in my opinion, is that they are human-readable. Are your addresses also human-readable or not?
It's quite, I showed you that, for example, with case of like Wikipedia, yeah? You see this.
Yep.
This quite readable, yeah? And you can actually throw it for your friend, and if we will have, like we will bootstrap our own registry that will be usable for users, and it will contain all like basic apps. So if the user will have like this hash, he will be able to open it, and that's it. I mean, it's quite usable.
Okay. So the next question: how can I be sure that the address, exactly IP address that I will receive, would be corresponding to the real address that it should correspond? How can I be sure that it's not a fake site, for example?
It's the most important thing, It's like content addressing.
Yep.
It is the pure digital digest of the piece of content. I mean, it's just a hash out there.
So I should
file. So you just compute it from a browser site and verify that you're actually running the code you expect to.
So how can it be verified? Can you please explain it a little bit?
Do you know how hashes works?
Actually, I believe.
Sorry?
Streaming porn. which you are going to create. So how do we verify hash if we have a stream, video stream, for example?
I can show you. Like it's a hash of it's a hash of their piece of video content, yeah, and you can actually just download it, just come. It's.
I mean that. So you say that this link
Yeah.
in the browser, it's a hash of the whole content.
Yes, the
and
whole piece of content. Yeah.
So if the stream is infinite, it's very long. So we cannot verify the hash until we watch the whole video.
IPFS is actually a bit more complicated than it looks like. Yeah, so you always have a way, like to point to a particular minute of a translation or the part. Or I actually don't understand. I mean, if it's ephemeral content, like it's just go around the network, so you can have only addresses to the small pieces of contents which go through the network.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. Okay, thank you.
So the whole paradigm of content addressing is that, like you have a piece of content, you just compute the hash, and that hash is an address.
Okay.
So it is self-authenticated kind of content. You can verify that it doesn't matter from where it has been delivered. You just can easily verify that it's, like the thing you expect.
So each one user should verify each one hash it receives from the IPFS in manual manner. So in case if I open some website in this browser, should I check the hash it receives?
Web2 browser?
No, this one. So this check is would be performed automatically, or
yeah, for sure. I mean, you just had this hash, yeah.
And what is the source of trust for these hashes?
Math.
Sorry, I don't understand you.
Okay. Do you understand how hash function works?
Yeah, exactly.
So you just compute, like their digest of their.
So how can I be sure that content that I'm trying to download is exactly that one that I'm expecting it to be?
It's the same way how you can be sure right now, but it is not, like easy to use. You download the file, you compute the hash, you compare it with expected hash, yeah? And that's basically it. And that thing, you just do it all the things in the background. I mean, it will not be shown to you if, it will be not this piece of content you expect. It just show you, okay, man, you have problem with network, we have our, it just cannot work like you like you're trying to expect. I mean, just design it in our way.
And what would be in the case if one would try to perform some kind of man-in-the-middle attacks and provide me some different hash and stays between me and the source of the content and trying to perform some not so good things?
In like content addressing interaction, it's like man-in-the-middle, like medium attacks are really impossible. Because the deal is you must understand what piece of content you expect to get.
Yes.
If you're sure that this fucking hash is what you need, when you can be sure that your browser will just bit by bit show you exactly this piece.
So
and you can actually just verify, download, compute the hash, compare it with the hash you're expecting.
So I actually should download this content.
You download it anyway.
It's a pretty hard task. Why should I download the content that I believe it's not the content that I really want to get?
I don't understand. I mean, just.
Why should I download the content in case if I don't believe that the system itself that this is that content that I really want to download?
Guys, can you explain me what I mean? What?
So,
Maybe you better ask in Russian.
only if you
Может,
know
по-русски
that the hash-
спросишь?
I think that Dmitry asked you how they can get content for testing or something else. Okay, they want. Okay, I want to download Wikipedia page, for example.
Yeah.
And after then Dmitry downloaded, and they can see not Wikipedia page, and they see, for example, porn video. I say, okay, don't. I expect Wikipedia page. How Dmitry can verify that? It's okay, because if you open in normal browser, you can see, okay, it's Wikipedia, wikipedia.org. If you open
But
Pornhub, you can see another stuff. So
Exactly.
what I think Dmitry means this stuff.
I mean,
Exactly.
you usually you trust when you rely on like HTTPS and root certificate authorities. You just trust that, you know, like this content is you get from a right source. Yes.
Yep.
We are not talking right now about the source either. It doesn't matter where this content arrive, because you just, you know, if you want Wikipedia, yeah, and you know that this kind of this hash is Wikipedia, you just go to this hash. The network will start to, you know, just deliver the content to you piece by piece from different nodes. And when you gather all these data, you just check that, okay, you got all you expected. I mean, I just don't know. And the code of this IPFS implementation is open source, so you just can go to Protocol Labs repositories and verify that. I mean, it authentication of the content, it works just in the background.
Yes, but it uses pretty much traffic in my case. So how this approach differs from the classic SSL DNS on top of the SSL?
I mean, that's really different approach. You don't need neither DNS or SSL, because all that, you know, security and identity and authentication just built in the IPFS protocol.
So why should I trust to the providers on the IPFS?
Because you don't need, because it doesn't matter which provider. It actually doesn't matter which provider give you the content. It just need to give you the content with the right hash.
So you're expecting that all the content
It's nothing.
would be
It's nothing.
published in IPFS?
Sorry, man. It works similar, the same way like a BitTorrent did for 15 years already. I mean, it just works, and it's proven to be working. But it just, you know, more IPFS. It's just more interesting from like it's open protocol, and it was designed to build apps on top of it. I mean, it's not something I invent, and that's not something that was, you know, appears like 1 year ago.
So okay, I understood. Thank you. And I'm just trying to get the thing. You're providing some kind of DNS on top of IPFS, or you're expecting that all of the content from whole the network would be published in IPFS itself?
Okay, this is your local DNS.
On an IPFS node, yep.
Yeah, this is just mapping with name, you know, and hash. And you have local node, you don't need to trust nobody. You just have your peers, like
But to verify the content, that the content itself should be published in IPFS, yep?
every piece of content.
It's a pretty hard task. Okay, thank you.
No, it's not. I mean, it's just a leap that you use for traditional apps.
Yeah, but
Why?
it is expecting that whole the network, whole the internet will be published in IPFS. It's a really ambitious task, I think.
It's actually not expected that we don't try to enforce you to use IPFS. Actually, we design the thing in a way that you will be able to, you know, like different content addressing protocols like Swarm, like BitTorrent, like name it, like DET, etc. So you can use any content addressing protocol you wish, and it's not as hard as you expect if you really want to, you know, just remove the like governments from your links, you know. I mean, that's the only. I mean, I do not like to discuss like it's hard or not. I mean, every change is hard. But if you want to remove like middleman from the every link on in every app, it's the only way.
Okay, it's pretty cool. Thank you.
No, but sorry, I mean, just to continue his question, because I feel you didn't answer it at all. Well, anyway, what he was trying to say, somebody puts this content, right? Right now, it's these big centralized organizations, but here somebody puts it. And you use the example of BitTorrent, but BitTorrent, I mean, there are a lot of viruses being transmitted there. So you usually go on Pirate Bay and you look if the person who put the file is trusted and people liking it, because then it's not virus. But if it's unverified, you might download some crap, or as he said, you might download a fake content that pretends to be real. So I actually still didn't get the answer about how do you verify that you're getting what you're supposed to get. And I think, is that the question you were asking?
Doesn't solve actually this problem. I mean, it
so what
doesn't
does it
either.
solve
I think agents must understand what kind of content we download. I mean, it's not. I mean, you don't fuck every girl you meet. Really, yeah.
Interesting analogy. Can I ask another question? So,
But it solves a very different problem. It helps you authenticate the stuff.
Suppose I want to download the video what protests in Turkey, and instead I download a video that shows the protest from some other completely unrelated event. So it's basically fake news. How does that solve fake news? How will I know?
It doesn't and shouldn't. It helps you do not trust your peers, which help you deliver content you want.
But then centralized is better. Sorry. If I watch
I mean,
CNN, if
okay,
they show
used
me
to
fake, at least I know there is a reputation that they will not show me completely fake stuff. Here, I don't
No,
even know if I'm watching something that's real or not. So I mean, how's it better?
I think like schools helps to understand what is fake. I mean, schools, I mean, it's just a very different topic of discussion. It's not technological problem. I mean, nothing helps you, to use bad shit.
So what problem does it solve?
It just don't need a middleman to, just deliver content from. Yeah, exactly. And not only speed. I told from the very beginning that it is speed, that is offline usage, that is censorship resistance, etc., and some more, like very exciting properties.
okay, just a question for more technical rather than going into the all political aspects. When you show the root registry, right? So the list of the mappings. This is something that's stored locally in your browser, or you have to run a node and it's stored locally in your node.
We look on that. It's initially it's local thing. I mean, it's just
So
the
this
user
lives in the
who
browser.
decide. Yeah, it's the
Okay.
user who decide what kind of content he want.
Okay.
Use which apps.
So your .app, if I run the same browser and I put a different hash, my app is different
It
from
will
your
be
app,
different.
right?
Correct.
And before you said during your presentation that you will be providing a list of registry.
We are going to
ready-made.
deliver like our own bicycle, like
And
the first one registry.
Yeah.
It will be called like Cyberroot registry.
Yeah.
And what we are going to do, we actually want to take, like 2,000 extensions
Mm-hmm.
and map them to, like domain names
Mm-hmm.
and help different, existing application developers
Yeah.
to get these names in their own. So
Okay.
we will be able to, map their version of app
Okay.
way like.
But that means you will be maintaining that, or can I also provide my own 2,000? Because I don't like yours, let's say. I want to provide, I
that's
can
true.
do
You
exactly that,
Yeah,
right?
you can.
So now my question, that was the introduction. My question is, I'm Audi and I want to put a very nice website and I want to make sure that .audi is whatever. It's not about decentralization or anything. I'm very centralized. I want to make a .audi that is globally recognized. Can I do
You
that?
should-
Just like
prob-
Audi.com, here I would have .audi because it's my DApp. How do I do that here? And how is the fact that the .audi always map to a hash that is internationally recognized by all the nodes? How do you do that? How do you plan for that?
That's really good question. I mean,
That's
it's
why I'm
just we need to understand two things, yeah, concerning this like proposal. The first one is that we expect that the whole thing will be started from their like good curated registry that solves, you know, like TLD names and file extension names. Yeah, that's the first thing. But if you're Audi, you know, I don't expect that this kind of thing will be ever be, you know, that the humanity will ever, you know, will come to consensus around this kind of thing.
Well, today it happens I buy Audi.com and I'm done, so at least I have that part. But here I think you're saying if it's not helping, then, I mean, you expect the whole world to move to IPFS and to be accessible in that. So I'm saying, okay, I'm Audi, I'm curious, how can I get some sort of trusted fact that it's not someone who's going to serve porn videos instead of my car advertisements?
Yeah, I think you should, you know, like, just add this entry to the most popular registries.
But that means those registries, the fact that it's individual people
and that means
curating them, it's defeating the whole purpose of decentralized.
But that means that nobody can control. Second very important thing is that if you're Audi, you will deliver the site, and the site has like a hash of content. Yeah.
Sure.
So basically, you, as Audi, you don't need to bother using which app your user open your app.
Yeah, but I prefer to put on my
Yeah, but
advertisement
you know,
Audi.com than this, right? So I'm not going to put that in the metro. Hey, just check OMV09. I want to put a very short, memorable, and then I would say, you know, just like ENS, right? It's simple, nice, short. Maybe this has the potential to do something a lot more universal. So I think that's a very important point, because if you're saying those are registries, those are maintained by people, it's like not having one icon, but you have like 20 icons. So it makes my life worse. At least if I have one icon, I can talk to the guys and I get my own TLD.Audi, for example. So at least it solves the problem for me. So I think you should look into how can you provide something like that is maintained, generated by consensus, built into that stuff. Then it would become very interesting.
You know, it can be managed like, you know, second level domains. For example, if you're Audi, you can use just ENS. I mean, that's not trying to solve the problem that ENS trying to solve. I mean, it's just, you know, the way to help users to have their own curated knowledge about what kind of content with what programs you want to, you know, like open. It's very simple way. And we'll see how that will be happens. I don't know.
Thank you, Dima. Thank you, guys, for questions.
Thank you for questions.
Yeah, we don't have so much time for all of them, because we have 4 speakers here, and the venue will close at 10. So we will have now like 5-minute break. Okay, just to set up the next speaker. It will be Dima Starodubcev from Ukraine, from GEO protocol.